Ooh, greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Jacob Whale, too.
And welcome to another thrilling installment of Tiki's Universe. That's right, it's the show where we recap and respawn to a whole bunch of current animated programming. All right, folks, we are back. Jacob, you and I actually attempted to get through the rest of Milo Murphy's Law. We got 3/4 of the way there, right?
Yeah.
So we will be coming back with a podcast covering Milo Murphy's Law very soon. We just have to put that all together. But anyways, we're not here to talk about that. Just update you guys because it's been a while, and Milo Murphy's been gone for a while. But we're here, of course, to talk about Samurai Jack, Season 5, Episode 7. I really wish these episode titles had, like, actual titles and not just Roman numerals.
XVC. XVCIII. They're three eyes.
I mean, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I haven't even put the titles in the actual, like, video titles of these podcasts. I've just been putting, like, Season 1, Season 5, Episode 1, Episode 2.
I knew there was something missing. I couldn't put my finger on it.
Technically, this is considered episode 98.
Oh, so that means they will be 101 Samurai Jack episodes when all is said and done.
Yes.
101 Jackmation Samurai.
The next episode is episode XCIX. Then after that is episode C, then episode C1, CI.
Right. Anyways, folks, let's dive right into it. Let's talk through this episode. A lot of Ashi love coming up, but let's first talk about this awesome cold open, which features the return of Aku, and I would say Aku Prime when he's no longer in his malaise.
As I said earlier, this is like the most closest to Mako Greg Baldwin's gotten this season.
Yeah, sure.
Like I said, because he's not in his malaise.
Right. This is very much like a classic Samurai Jack storyline. Like, you know, like Jack is he found the portal. Aku pulls him out, and of course, Aku uses the natives to his advantage.
And he's like, hey, guess what? I think that was the very last one.
And Aku is just like so delightful in his taunting and intimidation of Jack.
And he's like, you better watch your stress. You're gonna get a heart attack.
What am I saying?
Go ahead, get yourself stressed. Of course, it's like a tragic scene and very harrowing, but you just can't help but laugh at what Aku's saying.
Yeah. Right.
Of course, the opening. The opening is probably my favorite part of the episode. Even I know someone that I'm not going to spend too much time on. So let's just say a friend of mine who's been basically binged off Samurai Jack, and I knew it was going to be right up his alley, and he's enjoyed the heck out of it. So he's gotten into this season and been kind of tracking his progression with it. So he, believe it or not, he wasn't super crazy about this one.
The episode in general, or just the opening?
In general, he really wasn't crazy about the resolution that Jack faces this episode, and we'll get there when we get there. But the opening is just he's really not crazy about the Mako discrepancy because he loved Mako very much. So it's I don't know.
Well, I mean, at that point, it's like, what are you gonna do,
exactly.
Right? It's like you either have a person to, you know, to do a very good kind of impersonation, or you just don't have Aku in the series at all.
Nevertheless, though, I mean, he loved the opening, though, and the point is, again, he's loved the series. I think he's kind of noticed a difference, and I think just on the whole, though, again, the culmination. This episode is the culmination of kind of getting the classic Samurai Jack episode.
Of course.
Each episode we've gotten kind of a glimpse of something classic from the Samurai Jack series, and now we've kind of this is the lost. This is kind of the lost episode, like what they should have ended season 4 on. Honestly, it's like if they had a proper ending for season 4, this would have been it. And it would be, oh my god, such a huge, awesome cliffhanger they would have come back to. Again, I just love how something to mention with last episode 6, we got a glimpse of Jack and how they integrated kind of past episodes and they reanimated them to kind of fit the new style.
Sure.
And I think they've gotten even better because honestly, this Jack looks so on the money to the original series. It's astounding because he is. They got the only way I can describe it's the head shape and the tint. Like Jack has kind of a pale skin tint that they finally got right, along with kind of the rectangular head shape. In the previous episode, you'll notice it doesn't quite match up to this one. I think they got it just perfect with this opening. Like it's absolutely like the original Samurai Jack show, but it has that little dark edge that we see at the end of the tragic note this opening hits upon. But before we get to
Oh, sorry.
before we get
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I was just go ahead. Sorry.
well, yeah. Before we get to that, though, I just wanted to mention if we can go back the opening shot we had. I love how close Jack was to victory. He was so close to getting home. He was so close to getting home. He found a time portal, and we do the classic Samurai Jack narrative. He gets to a time portal, and he gets to a portal, and he's yanked. He's just yanked at the last possible second. It's like he's on the hook by Aku, quite literally. He's dragged back by Aku. And we've never in the history of Samurai Jack Tiki, we've never seen Jack get that close. He was literally inside the portal, and that's what made it so tragic. They just pulled up by the scruff of his neck.
Sure. I mean, I definitely got that, even though I haven't watched through the whole series, because you can definitely sense the desperation. Like every episode of Samurai Jack, you can sense, it's like that's the whole classic quote, "Got to go back," So. And
I'm just saying, like they found a way of kind of doing kind of a classic Samurai Jack episode in like 2 minutes without making it kind of a rehash. They didn't like the one thing we never saw Jack gets that super close to it. We've seen him he finds a portal and then something happens, but no, he was that close, and just then I understand Jack's frustration, especially after Aku mocking him as we're seeing now. Just saying, just saying like, oh, I think that was the last one, and thus he is absolutely just he's lost his sense of purpose in that moment, which of course fuels kind of the directionlessness that Jack's had in the 50 years in between the show.
Sure.
I kind of think that. I think that this anger he's feeling now is just this kind of is fueled in that moment of just he's so pissed off at Aku, and he's so close to fulfilling his purpose. And now the idea is weighing on him like, I have no purpose. It's again, that momentary loss of purpose just led to all this anger, darkness, and rage that gets brutally unleashed. And I think that's kind of why he lost his sword. I think that's why his sword kind of felt he wasn't worthy anymore, because he lost himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and we see as much through the episode that the sword is kind of more of a metaphysical sort of thing than anything else. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really fully up to speed on like how the sword can like disappear and reappear, if it's like sentient or what. Anything you guys want to weigh in on that? Because you might know more about that than I do.
Watch The Birth of Evil. You'll understand more about how the sword came to be.
Okay.
I'll explain when we get to kind of the thing at the end.
Sure.
Feeds into good. That. I'll give you.
But seriously, watch Birth of Evil. It's awesome. It even won Primetime Emmy Award.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, this is a huge moment. So forward, the episode began with, interestingly, I love how this pays off in the episode, that we see, and classically in Samurai Jack, of course, Jack is always kind of meeting folks, and he's really in tune with nature. He's really kind of a nice centered sort of guy, Samurai Jack. So it's really nice, but these adorable little kind of rams, like kind of like sheep rams. I don't know if kind of breed a ram, I don't know. Point is, these adorable little rams, like the cutest design you've ever seen. They lead Jack to the time portal. They show him his way. They show him his way home. How nice is that? And there's really cool setting and everything. I love how we come back to the setting, by the way. Perfect.
This action, though, very much calls to mind the ending of episode 5, right?
Yes, very much so. Yes.
Yeah.
Only this one, and again, maybe, and that just saying, the image we have now, just kind of Jack with his hands like that, and just kind of like in the horror of the action in front of him, is directly, as Tiki says, it's kind of directly like the ending of the episode. And I think maybe that's in a sense that's very intentional. It's like that's the kind of thing he does in that similar trauma vein.
Yeah, I mean, Jack is just very, very sensitive to the loss of innocent life, especially when it's at his hands.
Yeah, it's
kind of Mike Ehrmantraut kind of quality to him there.
Yes, and I tell you again, Tiki, I love how they kind of reinvented the wheel of like, how can we really traumatize Jack and get him to kind of lose his sword, but also communicate all this other stuff? Well, we have him with his own hands. Again, he's not killing a human because we saved that for this season.
Right.
we have him do the next best thing. He killed kind of an innocent in all this, and it was a manipulation by Aku, just showing like how. I really love what they're saying with Aku here. We never really got this too. It's extrapolating what we get with Aku in the series, where Aku again, he's kind of like the. I'm just trying to think of the analogy here. He's kind of like the like a playground bully.
I basically see it as like it's kind of what he was always implied to be doing in the background of the original series.
Yeah, it's like he's evil as a playground bully, but he's like a playground bully who doesn't realize how horrible his acts are. He doesn't realize the evil in his actions. He's doing it like on a whim, like just like, hey, I'm just gonna kick the guy while I'm gonna kick mud in his face, which he does here. I'm going to leave you with some playmates while I've ruined your life. Again, he's not really thinking this will completely crush the samurais thing. Oh, I'm gonna make things inconvenient for Jack. I'm gonna leave him like a little play date, and then he leaves. He doesn't realize he's doing this to Jack, and that's what makes Aku again. He's like a school bully essentially for
yeah,
Jack.
Right. That is a very good comparison, because essentially he's just like kind of like venting his frustration on Jack, and kind of like, whereas he doesn't realize just the depths of despair that he's about to send Jack into.
And we've seen that with Aku now. Aku not realizing if had Aku stuck around to see his handiwork, he would realize, oh my god, Jack lost a sword. I could finish him off here. But again, exactly. It's like a playground bully mixed with a Bond villain. Like, I'm not going to watch my nemesis get defeated. I'm just going to assume it. I'm just going to assume I inconvenienced him in some way, not realizing, oh my god, I scarred him for life, and that's why 50 years later he's still around.
Because remember, like, he is the guy who like noticed that. Basically pointed out their formula in an episode. He's like, I'll assume we'll probably just live through it anyway.
Right.
Yep. And again, I just think it's kind of a fascinating thing of like, real evil coming from just kind of ignorance of evil.
Mm-hmm. So we transition that into the present day, and then and then we get kind of Jacob, you were telling me this episode did have some Lord of the Rings influences, and one of the big Lord of the Rings influences is this giant baby eagle thing that they're riding around in to get to a hole in a mountain. Very, very Tolkien-esque there.
In addition to the fight sequence later on.
Of course.
I love how visually haunting the ram skull and like these little reminders here and there, and all these like little looks in this scene are.
Like they're still there after all this time, reminding Jack of what happened.
Yeah,
exactly. Again, like the perfect kind of haunting imagery, and I also love that in that flash we got. I want to say way back in episode 2 when we saw like kind of Jack's perspective when the sword fell. Again, like kind of those little mystery elements of like we're seeing what happened. I love that it linked up exactly what we saw here. Only it was a little bit more. The scene was colored differently, but it was like the same. Thing was like he's reaching down when he lost the sword. And of course, this is the hole where the sword fell.
Of course. Yeah.
So I like how it's all kind of melding neatly together. It's kind of neat. It's all threaded nicely.
So essentially, Jack kind of realizes that the sword he didn't lose the sword. The sword left him, right? That's the correct phrasing on it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
which also again got a really good reaction shot from Ashi, by the way. I just wanted to mention that too. Speaking of Ashi.
So in turn, we have Jack going into meditation mode. And while Jack is in meditation mode, we'll get back to his meditation mode later. But we have, oh my God, we have, wow. Do you guys see how I love this character? I am absolutely like in love with this character. So let's talk through it. Of course, we have to set it up a little where the thing that we saw in the promo, the great I'm gonna go off the mountain to kill the samurai. What's it to you? But I love how it's like we see the scale of the army, and the army is just like literally like it's wrapped itself completely like halfway up this mountain, and then also like all the way like out into the horizon. It's like a huge army.
And yet Ashi manages to destroy every single one
with her bare hands.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, she uses some of the spears against them, but for the most part, it's with her bare hands. Oh my God.
I mean, you'll notice, even though this is like kind of an exaggerated shot right here, I mean, you'll notice that guy's without a head.
Right.
All of these guys are without heads. They've all been, technically their heads are kind of rectangular, but it looks like they're without their heads. I wouldn't put that past her if you have them got really horribly mangled.
Of course, I think the highlight for me comes right at the beginning when she's just like pushing through all of them, and that's just like, oh yes, Ashi kicks so much ass. Oh my god.
It's like a bulldozer going through. It's almost like a bulldozer going through bowling pins.
Yeah.
And meanwhile,
So
Jack's enjoying a nice cup of tea with Howard Hamlin.
Yeah,
Like,
Hamlin's
you know,
just there
he
saying,
went
"Oh,
into
hey,
the spirit world like, hey, Jack, I'm your spirit guide. What's up? Name's Howard Hamlin. All right. And that'll be the one Howard Hamlin joke I make this episode. I promise. Okay. Because poor Jacob's just out of the loop with that. But
So Ashi, Rook we hit upon with Ashi.
Yeah,
Like Ashi's continuing on her arc. She's kind of this great student of Jack's ways since the episodes. Kind of in between the episodes. With the bird bonding, kind of homage and kind of the ram bonding. So again, just showing we're having all these little visual touches. Okay, she's acting very much like Jack. So she's very much a student of Jack versus a student of Aku.
mm-hmm.
She still has, as we saw in the previous shot, she still has a lot of darkness to process through. And, like Jack does in this episode, like he's done the past couple episodes. And I think there's like kind of a build to like how he's kind of been processed like suicidal thoughts, and now he's kind of processing through his anger. So it's kind of boiling down to the essence of what the issues are. I think there was a question that raised with Ashi's story. I think we should kind of address I think what's kind of raised with Ashi is the kind of necessary violence for necessary times when that's called for. But basically like the violence in which he was trained at, with.
I mean, that's definitely how she's able to take care of that orc army so fast. It's just through the training. Yeah,
it's like horrific how she deals with that army, but it is effective at the same time. Again, she learned that through kind of being a daughter of Aku, but it's kind of it shows you how kind of a neat blend she is, where she's like she's harnessing her darkness in a way that is like kind of through Jack's honor system and with a respect for.
Almost kind of like a dark passenger sort of thing.
in a way, yes. In a way, it's kind of like what if Hit Girl kind of it's kind of like a Hit Girl sort of thing. Almost.
Right.
It's like Hit Girl with an honor code. That's kind of what I'm looking at here. Just kind of uncontrollable, kind of like just can kill anything.
So let's talk about the editing for a second, because I love how the episode cuts back and forth from like the brutal action to just like the most mundane stuff that we've probably ever seen on the show. just meticulous. Like we spend like a good minute and a half to 2 minutes of just Jack making the cup of tea. And that's just no, I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to reference Hamlin again. But you know what I'm saying, though. It's like I think it's very clever, the fact that this episode is so rooted with action, and yet they're able to to give us those precious minutes of storytelling to just the most mundane of mundane, just to kind of make the point of like the contrasting journeys that these two are on.
I think you're absolutely right about that. The editing is such a brilliant juxtaposition with the edits in this episode. It's probably one of the most memorable elements of it, I'll be honest. Like, in the opening and the editing, I think, is just definitely the two standouts of the episode, if you ask me. Of course, building... what I love about the editing, too, as a device with our storytelling, so I do address here, is I love how it's not only just is it comedic, which, again, fits kind of Tarkovsky's kind of his style, like kind of all this... His style is also kind of have like a lot of like great action, like usually kind of the speed of like someone's like trying to land a blow and they have like someone just doing something very casual and then they come
right, yeah, you saw that a lot in Powerpuff Girls too, yeah,
exactly. You hear that actiony whistling sound you have like when like a blow's about to be they then someone's like la di da di da di da. It's that kind of that humor Tarkovsky has, but I love how the story relevance I'm getting is that. I love that Jack it shows kind of what Jack's been processing kind of visually too. It's like while Jack he's kind of going through, as the episode continues, we have kind of all this tranquil stuff Jack's been going through juxtaposed with Ashi going through all her stuff, and kind of all this increasing violence and horror versus like kind of this wonderful tranquility of this kind of this meditative
right
journey he's on. And, of course, by the end, Jack then gets into kind of a thematic battle with himself, as Ashi gets into kind of a battle with kind of herself through the priestess.
Yeah, and this is great. This is, we've been building this up, of course, throughout the whole season so far, and I think it's a very satisfying kind of conclusion. I love the action, first of all. I love how we don't even really know it's the priestess until she reveals herself. It's just like she sees someone climbing the mountain to kill Jack after she devoured all the orcs. Like I shouldn't say devoured. That's a poor choice of word.
That is a very poor choice of words. I'm saying all the violent stuff she did. That we just want to be clear. She did not consume any orc or lizard flesh,
Right.
The better word would be demolished.
Yes. Thank you, Jake.
or decimated.
Yes.
That too.
And this has been Tiki's Vocabulary Hour. All right.
Where's Lemony Snicket when you need him?
Oh,
Brought
God,
to you-
right.
This episode has been brought to you by the letter D.
Yes. So with Asher, I like the drive of her battle here with the priestess. She's been with all of her stuff that she's been given an immediate purpose to. It's like how Jack has a purpose of getting back in time, saving his people. She's been giving a kind of an in the moment purpose of she's still kind of going this by the seat of her pants. Like what's next? She keeps asking what's next. What do we do next? And Jack's kind of giving her a kind of a mission. Okay, you guard my body while I kind of I look for the sword, and she does it very very effectively and single-handedly wipes out an entire army. And then of course the biggest, again, much like Jack here, again, like kind of the biggest thing is kind of the internal battle while the actual battle is going on here.
Oh yeah.
With the priestess. It's a great mirror, by the way, to the opening where we had Jack and Aku fighting. We have kind of the representation of Aku and the representation of Jack in the modern day going at, in the darker modern day going at it. Again, Ashi being the rehabilitated kind of agent of Aku now on Jack's side, and of course the priestess being just the celebrating all of Aku's accidental evil.
Sure. So we end this battle with a devastating blow by Ashi.
I love. I'm sorry, on.
No, go ahead.
I love the. It's not entirely resolved, which I think we're going to get some in the next episode. I mean, we don't necessarily have to. I would assume they're going to kind of still touch upon us because the show's been there's been a lot of great aftermath in this season. That she makes a very, very direct in the moment choice, a very traumatic choice to kill basically her mother or Jack. And bear in mind, of course, she has her issues with her mother. It's no surprise that she does what she does. But still, it's a big choice to kill your own parent because again, she mentioned calls her mother. I mean, she throws that arrow right at her mother to save Jack in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
If she wanted to just kind of defeat her, not kill her, I mean, that was an option she did not have in that moment. She kills her own mother, which again is bound to have some sort of effect on her.
Sure. And we see her. It's like we see the trauma of this knocks her out. Like, I mean, it could, it's definitely probably the mix of the trauma and the physical trauma of going through all those orcs, but still, this is something that just it causes her to lose consciousness. It's so traumatic.
Yeah. I also love again just the cleverness here.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I like the battle kind of started with kind of the priestess with kind of this black blade, kind of much like kind of the coding and everything. All those of Aku and agents of Aku have. It was like a black coated dagger thing, and she had the apparently really sturdy, really I guess steel sharp ram's horn to do battle with.
Right.
I'm not questioning logistics. It's otherworldly. Maybe it's in theory, in this mythical future, the rams that were really strong in the horns. I don't know.
Oh,
my point is, I like that we have a representation of again Jack's kind of biggest regret versus kind of a symbol of what Ashi is, just kind of this blade kind of coat, it's melted with this black ash on it. Which again, that's Ashi. That's all the daughters of Aku represented with that dagger. It's kind of again Jack's kind of regrets versus Jack's kind of coming around versus someone who's stuck in the past.
Sure.
Can we just say, in essence, we're past all that. Can we just say how strong she must be in order to throw an arrow and puncture somebody?
Right.
I'm sure we just saw her decimate a bunch of orcs with her bare hands, but it's another thing to throw an arrow through somebody and kill them.
Well, to be fair, I just want to make it clear again, we don't know if she's dead.
Well,
it's very likely that she's dead.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Throw an arrow and still hit a target in such a force that causes them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's kind of like the feudal, the ancient warfare equivalent of tossing a bullet and shooting someone. You know what I mean?
I just wanted to say that. When you guys got done, I just want to ruin your guys' talk of symbolism.
Sure, symbolism. Okay, so speaking of symbolism,
yes. Let's talk about the monk in general, though, because I don't think we talked about the monk.
I don't think we have.
This is terrible.
I thought the monk was a cool device because now, Tegan, this is something we also get in Jack's backstory. Essentially, Jack kind of had the Batman experience where he trained around the globe, so he's trained with like all sorts of kind of eclectic, kind of like multicultural figures. So again, he's always been kind of this great ambassador of cultures because again, he's trained in every form. That's why Jack's so good at everything. You know, he's skilled in archery.
Samurai Batman.
In essence, yes. You know, he's skilled at throwing. He's skilled at like kind of archery. He's skilled like all sorts of stuff. And again, I like kind of here. It's kind of Jack's kind of Zen sort of like he's very kind of the guy who goes and asks for hot water at the bar sort of kind of mentality.
Right.
All the tea making, which again, I'm sure Howard Hamlin gives a big old thumbs up to. I like the message of the monk here. The monk basically was communicating here. Jack is on the right path. I mean, he's doing what the whole this tea tastes terrible. This is terrible. That was exactly what Jake said. What he's communicating there is that, hey, I know you're doing everything right. You're on the right path and all, but again, you're held back. It's kind of like the Dark Knight Rises thing. Like he's held back by the rope. Sun directly is holding him back. He's disassociated from himself, from his purpose. In the thing that disassociated himself from his purpose in the first place, which again was that he got his eye was off the ball, thinking this purpose was gone. He just kind of let loose, and all his anger got the better of him, and had like a horrible cost. And that is just again, it's less the fact that he killed those rams. It's the moment before when he kind of took his eye off the ball, when he just lost his cool like that. That's what's holding him back. Again, not the violence.
And his anger
violence is necessary sometimes.
And his anger manifested into a Mad Jack or the inner Jack, which basically made him, as he put it, imbalanced.
Yes.
Rendering the sword, like making him lose the sword in the process, lose himself even more as he basically delving deeper into madness.
Yes, essentially, Tiki, my interpretation based on this episode is that the sword kind of had like a Moliorn effect, like Thor and his hammer. Basically, it didn't think he was worthy anymore after he lost his cool like that. So that's why when it fell down, it physically did fall down the pit. I'm just assuming maybe it just over in the 50 years, or again, I believe it's 50 years. I mean, they don't necessarily say when, but it could be like 25 years and change. I don't know. The point is, the sword probably disappeared because, again, again, not worthy.
Right. Okay, so let's transition into after Jack kind of. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hold on the image first. Something we need to address, and this is a fan theory going around here, and a lot of people have labeled this guy here as Mad Jack. Now, Tiki, you're familiar with Mad Jack a little, aren't you?
Should I be familiar with him?
No, I'm just saying it's kind of I wouldn't be surprised if you just look into Samurai Jack period, you might see. It doesn't matter. The point, in Samurai Jack, and this is kind of like a sort of like I call it a nostalgic figure because it takes me back to an episode of Batman animated series. It's a very similar idea. Our hero versus an evil version of himself, or a doppelganger of himself, only Aku basically made a duplicate of Jack, and that was fueled by Jack's anger and his rage. And a lot of people are saying this is them bringing back that idea of like Jack got angry, and that is represented by Mad Jack. I still think it's connected to the id, so I don't think it's Mad Jack, but it would be interesting if just Jack has never really lost his cool like that, and this is just the ultimate manifestation. I'm just saying because it's in his head, I'm thinking it's more of the ids and everything.
That's why he's referred to as Inner Jack.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Though. I'm just saying everywhere, if you look on the wikis and stuff, they still call this guy Mad Jack. I just want to kind of correct that. I don't think it's supposed to be the same.
I mean, I don't really have an opinion either way because
honestly, I don't think it's Mad. Honestly, I don't think it's Mad Jack either.
I'm just saying a lot of people are just kind of blindly labeling. I just want to say I don't think it's that. I know you guys don't think.
Okay, fair enough.
Basically, the only thing they have in common is the red.
Right.
Yes.
Okie dokie.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just on with the angry kind of id of Jack here. This kind of the inner Jack here we're working with. Again, I think it's kind of a cool extrapolation of a build of what we've been building with all of these guys. Because the first one was very much just the honestly, I'm tired, let's kill ourselves. The next one was kind of like the more somewhat psychotic, Jack, kind of the Joker looking one that Diggy brought up the episodes ago. Just kind of the the whole we should stop. With the creepy.
They're like different personifications of like Jack's inner demons at different points, depending on the situation.
Exactly. Then the one following that was kind of the most kind of like the one when he and Ashi were stuck inside the giant monster. That one. that one, of course, seemed to be like, again, minus the color scheme, was the most that looked the most like kind of Jack classically looks, and that one was just very, very direct. Was that just very much just kind of like he's like let's just cut Ashi loose. I mean, hey, she's gone. It's a cynical Jack, and this one, of course, was just what all of those have at their core, what stems from all of them. Just this Jack, he claims I did what was necessary, which of course would have led to a dead Ashi had that been true. Had he just did what was necessary.
And also a dead Jack, because he basically wanted him to kill himself.
Well, absolutely. I'm just saying again, this one just kind of taking up for like, hey, all the horrible stuff we did, all the things they've been done to keep us to keep us alive. But again, had that been true, then he would have just let Ashi die way back when. You're right. You're right. He would have killed everyone. It just would have put an end to everything. And as Jack defeats him, just kind of realizing what he is, your anger is holding me back. We need balance, which of course gets rid of him. He raises an interesting question. You need me, and I got to wonder again. It's kind of this violence thing. If Jack kind of realizes he needs to kind of, it's not a bad thing to kill humans, but again, as long as it's like kind of you give him the fair warning beforehand. He raises that question. He raises that statement. You need me as he disappears. I wonder if we're going to see Mad Jack again at some point.
We might. We could see him just speculating. We could see him like during a low of low moment in episode 9 or something like that.
You know what I'm saying? Like Jack might need to tap into this guy, tap into this anger to defeat Aku. Maybe that might be an issue if we get raised. I don't know.
And quite frankly, it kind of did happen rather quickly. They said you could have realized this sooner, but now it's like, oh, suddenly you're holding me back, and now you're gone.
And this is the thing my friend has an issue with. And again, I don't agree with him. I'm saying he has an issue with like kind of how this was easily resolved. And I kind of see this one, but I think again it's been building. So I think
it's been building since at least episode 5, if not before then.
Yeah, I mean,
everyone has an opinion.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
I do see that.
Well, let's go through the rest as quickly as we can.
So as Jack makes peace with things, we get these familiar faces.
Yeah, now guys, exposit this to me as quickly as you can.
These are the guys who created the sword for Jack's father in the Birth of Evil.
Okay.
To be more specific, these are like
the Egyptian. The eagle is the Egyptian god Ra. The guy in the center is Zeus, the king of the Greek gods.
No, it's Odin. It's not.
Oh, it's Odin. Odin from Norse gods. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Odin. Sorry. I think I got confused. And Vishnu from Indian mythology.
Okay.
Rama.
Basically, many years ago, like before time, really, just a formless mass. They was floating through space and causing trouble, so they decided to stop it. One small mass went to Earth, formed a black tree, and eventually became Aku. Jack's father was tasked to stop it, and they created the sword form, basically.
Gotcha.
The meaning behind this is that now they've chosen Jack to stop. They've deemed Jack specifically worthy, because Jack's father just handed the sword down. These guys, like, they deemed, you're worthy. You can stop Aku. Now you're all balanced and everything. So we're going to give you your sword back, kind of put you back on the right track. And this is like basically kind of a rebaptism for Jack being like the back on track, as being your classic Jack again.
A rebirth, reincarnation kind of thing.
Yes.
And speaking of classic Jack, we get this great Legend of Zelda shot. Da-da-da-da!
Jack is back.
What do you guys think of him? Just like the facial hair just instantly disappearing.
You know why I don't have an issue with it? I don't have an issue with it because we had this cool stylistic thing where so Ashi's knocked out. So for all we know, this is actually happening to the physical body, but we're not seeing. We're kind of melding things, and the fact that we don't have a witness to this, I think, makes it better.
Okay.
I mean, it raises less questions. That maybe it physically happened, or if you want to be really really technical, the hair fell out and blew away, and it's just the clothing was up. It was the gods did it to him. That's what happened. They did it to him.
Okay, and then we get. I officially want these two cute kids to get together. All right.
Now you do.
Yeah.
Wait. It's Tiki. Mayako says, "No, remember Tiki? No, I do not want that. Like, screw that. I don't remember."
I remember. I've changed my tune.
All sorts of nasty things to us do.
I've changed my tune, and I officially am dubbing it Joshi.
Oh, that's great.
Joshi.
Oh God!
I guess the naysayers would call it Ek then.
Oh God! But how adorable are these two together now? I mean,
yeah.
I know. I guess it's just taken a couple episodes of character development and them working together for me to really get on board with it.
Then again, let's be clear. I mean,
really-
I could go either way, and I think we.
Because it was really like only the last. Because it was really like only the last episode. We were like, no, I don't want to see it.
Right.
Yeah, we could go either way, and I think we'd still be happy. But again, like, it wouldn't hurt to get these two. Give Jackson, he killed baby rams.
Oh,
Come
God.
on, give him some happiness, man. Just give him like someone dies so he doesn't die alone.
And heck, according to the upcoming descriptions for some of the episodes, it kind of hints at something's going to happen between them or something. Like there's at least a relationship, like a friendship or something between them that gets closer in the next few episodes.
Okay. And of course,
Jack
yeah.
is busy. And he's-
I love
that the guy on the guy on the very left. I love that he's just like, oh, he's like one guy's alive.
right.
She didn't kill everybody. She just like left one guy barely alive.
Mortally wounded. Yeah, so here's what's gonna happen to this guy. This guy, we're gonna get a whole nother secret episode on the
Oh, God.
DVD of this guy where a wolf came and found him, and then Soda's licked his wounds, and he had like a whole hallucinatory vision. Oh, it was a whole thing.
He's like, she's not entirely hard. Like she just left him alive. She just left one alive. Like how many men?
And then
it
it becomes like a born again orc, and it's a whole thing.
Okay.
Remember, how many men do you need to deliver a message?
So then
Oh, God.
the episode ends with Jack, of course, claiming, now we go for Aku, which, God damn it, that's what we've all wanted to hear for 7 episodes. So yes, all
He's
right.
fine.
let's
He's
do it.
regained his purpose. He's regained everything. His sword is the sword's a big deal. His sword, he's got his classic look back, and now he's off to stop Aku. Because again, he's been kind of like he hasn't seen the point in going up against Aku, but now he does. Now he's got again. Ashi's kind of the ultimate symbol of like what the fight against Aku, what she did, what Aku's just presence has done to this poor kid.
Sure. And then speaking of Ashi, let's close on this image because we all love Ashi, and I feel like this image just personifies our love for Ashi very well. So final thoughts, or do you want to get into some brief
Promo.
spec? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, the promo doesn't really show much. They're being chased by something.
I'm getting a major alien vibe.
Right.
Yes. Me too. You're right.
It's kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum. Like this episode had influences from Lord of the Rings. And the next one is,
Yeah, sci-fi versus fantasy.
So I think Jack and Ushi are in like one of Aku's scientist labs because remember he has a lot of scientists working. They build all the robots and stuff. Too.
Okay, right.
Aku is scientist. You saw them in like an earlier episode. Like,
Oh
he's, like, three
God.
scientists.
Okay, hold on. What if we saw a whole assembly line of Scaramouches?
hey,
Okay,
man,
well, two.
Hey, babe!
It doesn't. The ones with personality are usually kind of like robots like androids on themselves. So I don't know,
fair enough.
a whole
However,
line,
Scaramouche will need a body.
Yes, he will.
If
Yes, he
Aku
will.
doesn't kill him, he will need a body.
a whole
Okay, so there's that.
line of number 3, the number 3 bounty hunter in the world.
Oh God! Actually, I'm going to
Yes.
predict right now that Scaramouche is trying to break into this lab as Ashi and Jack are, and they're just like unaware that each other are there.
That'd be kind of cool. But I don't say again. He's going to Aku's place versus not a lab.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, if he's like, screw this, babe, I need a body if I'm gonna get all the way to Aku.
We'll see. Well, the point is they're pursued by a monster, and you're right, Jake. Very big alien vibes. So yeah, speculation purely. Broadly, let me throw this at you guys, just broadly for the episodes. Okay, I think episode 8, the next one, we're going to go to the city. They go to a lab to find Aku, at least find like an address on Aku, a lead to him somehow.
Okay,
Of course, the
right.
scientist lab, simple correlation. Jack's fought a lot of robots. Figures, okay, the scientists build the robots. That's how we find our way to Aku, track them down by the scientists. I think the ending of next episode I think we're going to have two things. The B story, I'm convinced, will be Scaramouche arriving in Aku, and then, as I've been calling this whole season, just the Scaramouche arriving in Aku says, Aku, babe, the samurai, Jackie Poo, he lost his sword.
And like just as Aku's springing into action, like Jack's actually gonna have his sword.
I think we're going to set that up for like 9, that's when they run into each other again. So I think the ending of 8,
And
basically,
Scaramouche is just gonna be decimated by Aku.
yeah.
He's like,
So-
you said he didn't have his sword. You lied to me.
Aku,
No, it's
babe,
not like
you gotta
that, Aku,
believe
babe.
me.
Seriously, imagine this, like,
You said you didn't have
basically we
the
take a,
You're useless.
yeah, like imagine this, we kind of take a big step with the both of them, where Jack, I'm thinking by the end of the next episode, the Scotsman's daughters, or the Scotsman, the Force Ghost Scotsman, are going to find Jack, and they're going to lead him to Aku for episode 9, and Aku's going to be on the path to find Jack. Thanks to Scaramouche at the end of it. 8. So 9 is going to be, I think, well, actually, I'm sorry. Scaramouche is going to be on the way to find Jack. The Scotsman is going to point Jack to the time portal, which will lead us to episode 9.
Scotsman, yeah.
So I think the Scotsman is going to lead Jack in episode 9 to the Guardians portal, the last portal that Aku doesn't know about.
Okay, I could see it. Cool.
Then I think just that episode's going to boil down to Aku stops Jack from using the Guardians portal, and then episode 10 is going to be our big climax. It's going to be Jack, and I think we're going to address this. We haven't really talked about this at all. Jack questioning if he should go back or not, because at this point, again, if he bonds with Ashi, you got to wonder he's going to erase Ashi from existence.
Of course, right.
So I think Jack's going to have a moral dilemma. Of course, the question is Jack going to go back, and if he doesn't go back, could it be for a reason?
God, the thought of either Jack or Ashi dying or being erased from existence at this point is heartbreaking.
I'm saying, think of it. If Jack goes back, Ashi's gone.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but it would also free the entire world from the history of Aku as well.
I mean, I think Jack would ultimately make the decision to go back, Dragon, but I do see your point of, like, it'd be a very conflicted decision.
I mean, Ashi
But
could even,
at
like,
the same time, Jack could fix the future and just kind of leave the past behind.
Yeah.
Though. I think that's
or
a way to
somehow,
go.
or for some reason, Ashi could go with him in the past, but that would still erase her existence if you go with
Exactly.
that. Well, I mean, unless it goes with the whole theory of like a time travel, the time fixes itself around the mistake, and she still survives or something. I don't know.
All right. Anything else for Spec, or should we jump into final thoughts?
That's all I got for Spec.
Okay, final thoughts. I guess I'll start on my end. This is a very, very solid episode. It's kind of like I don't know. There's something about, like, I love Jack and Ashi interacting with each other, so it was cool to see them kind of, like, literally, like, in the same location but having completely different experiences. Like, that was a fun sort of change of pace from the episodes. Of course, really, really great action. I feel like this episode had some of the best action of the season so far. Between Ashi with the orcs and then with the battle with the priestess, really great action. Set stuff up well. The only thing I will agree that it is kind of like kind of stretching the narrative a little bit for Jack. But as you said, we've kind of come to the it's been a bit of a build up to this, so I'm fine with it. So. Yeah,
plus we have to work with the short time of the season.
Of course. So, overall, probably not like not the. Again, I hate to rank these. It's probably like not number 1 or 2 in terms of the episodes, but it's high up there. Yeah, I really like this one a lot. Okay, I'm done.
I have to agree. Probably not my favorite of these episodes, but it's still up there. I mean, like, I don't think there's been a single bad episode this season.
I mean, I think last episode was like the closest we got to a bad episode just because of the flip show kind of nature of it.
I mean, even then, it wasn't really horrible.
Right.
but like I said, even a bad episode of Samurai Jack is still better than a lot of other stuff you'll see on television.
Of course.
But even then, like, yeah, I do like this episode. I mean, this episode proves that this show can be anything it wants to be, and still can do anything. So, and still be one heck of a ride, and we can't wait to see how it goes from here.
Sure. Dragon?
I really.
No, go ahead. I'm just cueing you.
Episode. I thought it was great. Again, the opening, the editing. I think again, strongest elements. Very satisfying, very well executed. Now Jack is back and he's on the ball. And again, I think they really kind of packed this with a lot of really great plot, great action. Again, some good kind of some payoff, some inner turmoil going on. Again, really visually well told. It's again, in my opinion, far superior to last episode 6. Again, not bad by any stretch, as we kind of said, but just weakest of season 5. episode 6. So this one very strong. This one would be high up there for me. Again, it's kind of I don't want to just instantly say favorite, but I'm saying it's top 3. I'll give it top 3.
Okay.
I really like it. I mean, we have a lot of really good ones to sift through. But again, so that opening really had me at a lot of levels, and I like how we've reached the point where we've kind of melded things. And the last thing that kind of to complete the circle is Jack and Aku kind of meeting each other again after we've seen kind of what set Jack off.
Sure. All right, folks. Well, that will do it until next week. Will we talk about even more?
Samurai Jack. Watch it.
He's got to get back.
Back to the past.
Samurai Jack.
Back.
I'm going off the mountain to kill the samurai. What's it to you?